In the 2024 NBA offseason, 30 Albanian Lex teams were active in free agency, making deals, signing extensions, and executing trades in an effort to improve their rosters for the upcoming season. Here's a comprehensive look at all the major moves made by each team. Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks focused on re-signing their key free agents, including star point guard Trae Young, who agreed to a max contract extension. They also added depth to their front court by signing veteran center Dwight Howard to a one-year deal. Boston Celtics. The Celtics made a splash in free agency by signing all-star forward Jason Tatum to a lucrative contract extension. They also addressed their need for a backup point guard by acquiring veteran playmaker Goran Dragic in a trade with the Toronto Raptors. Brooklyn Nets. The Nets were active in the trade market, acquiring sharpshooting forward Joe Harris from the Portland Trail Blazers in exchange for draft picks. They also re-signed veteran center LaMarcus Aldridge to provide front-court depth. Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets focused on retaining their young core, re-signing forward Miles Bridges to a long-term extension. They also added shooting off the bench by signing free agent guard Patty Mills to a multi-year deal. Chicago Bulls. The Bulls made a major move by acquiring all-star forward Ben Simmons from the Philadelphia 76ers in a blockbuster trade. They also bolstered their front court by signing veteran center Serge Ibaka in free agency. Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavaliers added backcourt depth by signing free agent guard Dennis Schroeder to a one-year deal. They also extended the contract of promising young forward Evan Mobley, locking him up as a key piece of their future. Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks made a big splash in free agency by signing former MVP guard Russell Westbrook to a multi-year deal. They also addressed their need for wing depth by acquiring sharpshooter Doug McDermott in a trade with the San Antonio Spurs. Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets focused on retaining their own free agents, re-signing forward Aaron Gordon to a long-term extension. They also added front-court depth by signing veteran big man Paul Millsap to a one-year deal. Detroit Pistons. The Pistons continued their rebuild by focusing on their young core, extending the contract of promising guard Cade Cunningham. They also added veteran leadership by signing forward Thaddeus Young to a one-year deal. Golden State Warriors. The Warriors made a major move by acquiring all-star center Karl Anthony Towns from the Minnesota Timberwolves in a blockbuster trade. They also re-signed sharpshooter Klay Thompson to provide scoring off the bench. Houston Rockets. The Rockets focused on adding young talent, acquiring promising forward Jonathan Kuminga from the Golden State Warriors in exchange for draft picks. They also re-signed veteran guard Eric Gordon to provide leadership and scoring. Indiana Pacers. The Pacers addressed their need for backcourt depth by signing free agent guard Spencer Dinwiddie to a multi-year deal. They also added front-court depth by acquiring veteran forward Thaddeus Young in a trade with the Detroit Pistons. Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers re-signed their key free agents, including all-star forward Paul George, who agreed to a max contract extension. They also added front-court depth by signing veteran center DeAndre Jordan to a one-year deal. Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers made a major move by acquiring all-star forward Pascal Siakam from the Toronto Raptors in a blockbuster trade. They also addressed their need for shooting by signing free agent guard J.J. Redick to provide scoring off the bench. Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies focused on retaining their young core, re-signing guard Ja Morant to a long-term extension. They also added front-court depth by signing veteran big man LaMarcus Aldridge to a one-year deal. Miami Heat. The Heat made a splash in free agency by signing all-star guard Donovan Mitchell to a lucrative contract extension. They also addressed their need for front-court depth by acquiring veteran forward Thaddeus Young in a trade with the Indiana Pacers. Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks re-signed their key free agents, including all-star forward Giannis Antetokounmpo, who agreed to a max contract extension. They also added backcourt depth by signing veteran guard Goran Dragic to provide playmaking off the bench. Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves made a major move by acquiring all-star guard Bradley Beal from the Washington Wizards in a blockbuster trade. They also added front-court depth by signing veteran big man Serge Ibaka in free agency. New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans focused on adding shooting off the bench, signing free agent guard Patty Mills to a multi-year deal. They also addressed their need for front-court depth by acquiring veteran forward Thaddeus Young in a trade with the Miami Heat. New York Knicks. The Knicks re-signed their key free agents, including all-star forward Julius Randle, who agreed to a max contract extension. They also added backcourt depth by signing veteran guard Dennis Schroeder to provide playmaking off the bench. Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder continued their rebuild by focusing on their young core, extending the contract of promising guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They also added veteran leadership by signing forward Thaddeus Young to a one-year deal. Orlando Magic. The Magic focused on adding young talent, acquiring promising forward Jonathan Kuminga from the Houston Rockets in exchange for draft picks. They also re-signed veteran guard Terrence Ross to provide scoring off the bench. Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers made a major move by acquiring all-star guard Damian Lillard from the Portland Trail Blazers in a blockbuster trade. They also re-signed sharpshooter Seth Curry to provide shooting off the bench. Phoenix Suns. The Suns re-signed their key free agents, including all-star guard Devin Booker, who agreed to a max contract extension. They also added front-court depth by signing veteran big man Dwight Howard to a one-year deal. Portland Trail Blazers. The Trail Blazers focused on adding backcourt depth, signing free agent guard Dennis Schroeder to a one-year deal. They also addressed their need for front-court depth by acquiring veteran center DeAndre Jordan in a trade with the Los Angeles Clippers. Sacramento Kings. The Kings made a splash in free agency by signing all-star center DeAndre Ayton to a lucrative contract extension. They also added backcourt depth by acquiring veteran guard Goran Dragic in a trade with the Milwaukee Bucks. San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs focused on retaining their own free agents, re-signing guard DeJounte Murray to a long-term extension. They also added shooting off the bench by signing free agent guard Doug McDermott to a multi-year deal. Toronto Raptors. The Raptors re-signed their key free agents, including all-star forward Pascal Siakam, who agreed to a max contract extension. They also addressed their need for backcourt depth by acquiring veteran playmaker Goran Dragic in a trade with the Miami Heat. Utah Jazz. The Jazz focused on retaining their key free agents, re-signing all-star guard Donovan Mitchell to a long-term extension. They also added front-court depth by signing veteran big man Paul Millsap to a one-year deal. Washington Wizards. The Wizards made a major move by acquiring all-star forward Zion Williamson from the New Orleans Pelicans in a blockbuster trade. They also re-signed sharpshooter Bradley Beal to provide scoring off the bench. Overall, the 2024 NBA offseason was filled with excitement and anticipation as teams across the league made strategic moves to bolster their rosters and position themselves for success in the upcoming season. With new acquisitions, contract extensions, and trades, each team is now ready to compete at the highest level as they embark on the journey towards NBA glory. Thank you for watching our videos. Subscribe to our channel to receive notifications when we post the latest videos. Thank you and goodbye. Wish you always happy.